It's yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning, mga friends. Good morning to all of you. And listen, Visayas, Mindanao, to all my fans from all over the world. Hi, hello. So, welcome sa ating live this morning, mga friend. So, this morning, I am going to cook my breakfast, mga friend. Jesus. From the palm of your hands, and promises. Jesus, I belong to you. You're the reason that I live, the reason that I sing. I am. The reason that I live. Hi, hello, good morning to my three visitors for today. Make a love shout out to all of you. Have a great morning, everyone. Today is a beautiful morning to all of us, having a day extension, 1 day extension, committed. Jesus, I belong to you. You're the reason.
Why pay the price? Why work this hard? Why go this far? Why try to learn this much? Why try to do it all? Why try to see it all? Why try to have it all? Why do it? Why learn it? Why study? Why put yourself out? Why try to take on this much responsibility? Why develop yourself to the full? Why try to become all that you can possibly become? Why try to earn as much as you can earn, share as much as you can share, develop every skill you possibly can, see every human you possibly can, go to every class you possibly can, touch everybody you possibly can? Why do that much? Why go that far? Why share that much? Why give that much away? Why try to see everything? Why try to do everything? Why try to become everything? That's a good question, why? And you're the only one personally that can answer that question for yourself. You've got to have your own list of whys. Here's what I want you to do when you go home after you've left this extravaganza. Work on your list of whys. One of the big thrusts for success is to come up with a strong enough why. In leadership training, here's what we learn. If the why is powerful, the how is easy. But if the why isn't strong, if your goals aren't powerful, if the vision isn't clear, the old prophet said, without a vision we die, without a vision we perish, without a dream we're nothing. From the movie The Professionals, I listened to Bill Heron give his testimony yesterday. From the movie The Professionals, it said, we joined because we believed. We stayed because we were committed. We left because we were disillusioned. But we came back because we were lost. Without a dream, we are nothing. Goals are important for a genuinely success-oriented person. Without them, you're just playing around. The difference between a goal-directed individual and someone without goals is like the difference between a Wimbledon champion and a kid batting a tennis ball around on a court with non-net. No opponent to bring out the best in him, and no way of keeping score. Despite everything that's been written about the importance of goal setting, very few people actually put it into practice. It's always amazed me the way the average person devotes more thought and effort to planning his or her 2-week vacation than to planning his life. Goals represent challenge in its most positive form. Leaders have their personal goals as well as those of their organization, clearly in focus. In fact, one of the principal responsibilities of leadership is defining goals for the vast majority of people who aren't able to do it for themselves. Over the years, I've developed some ideas about effective goal setting.
Hi, hello
And I'd like to share
everyone.
those
Good morning,
with you.
good morning to you.
I also
Welcome
want
to
to point
our
out
vlog.
some
So
traps of
today,
goal-directed
and
behavior that
welcome
aren't
to
usually
our
talked
live.
about,
And for
certainly
today's
ought to
video,
be.
we are
When I
going
was a
to
kid, I
listen
used
a
to dream
motivational
what it would be
speech
like to
of
buy a
one of
ticket on the
our
train
best
and just
mentor.
go someplace. I didn't really think about where I'd be going or how long it would take to get there. I just loved the idea of getting on the train and letting it take me someplace. I guess there's still something appealing about that idea, but it's not really the way you should live your life as a mature human being. When you grow up, you buy a ticket on a train or a plane because you want to go someplace and you know exactly where you're going. You may have to change planes in a different city. Your flight may be canceled, or you may have to switch to another flight. You may not feel like talking to the person seated next to you, but you will persist. You know where you're headed, and you're quite determined to get there. That's goal-directed behavior in its simplest form. There are short-term goals and long-term goals. Sometimes you're flying across the country. Other times, you're just walking down to the corner grocery store. Long-term goals are the equivalent of a major journey. When you reach the point where you've achieved your long-term goals, your life will be fundamentally changed, and the process of getting to that point will have transformed you into a stronger, wiser, and higher performing person.
Gusto mo na mag-check out pero wala pang payday? Sagot ka namin with SPay Later. Pagkaanay ng pagbayad with up to 12 months installment with 0% interest on your favorite electronics and gadgets. Kaya buy now and SPay Later.
How can you identify your long-term goals? On a sheet of paper or in a notebook, write these 5 headings. 1. What do I want to do? 2. Who do I want to be? 3. What do I want to see? 4. What do I want to have? 5. Where do I want to go? Under each of these categories, write down several possible long-term goals. Be very relaxed about this. Just allow your mind to flow and come up with 3 to 6 ideas for each category. Don't worry about a lot of details at this point. And don't spend too much time describing a particular goal. For example, refer to category 1. Suppose you want to write a book about the history of your family going back to the arrival of your great-grandparents in the United States. Just quickly jot down family history. Then it occurs to you that you've always wanted to see the pyramids in Egypt, so you write pyramids. Keep writing down ideas as long as the list of categories continues to inspire you. You'll probably be surprised at some of the things that turn up. You may have kept a great many desires and aspirations hidden in the back of your mind, but the opportunity to write them down will move them to the forefront of your consciousness. That's one of the benefits of this technique. When you're satisfied with your list of long-term goals, read through the list once again. Then beside each item, write the number of years that you believe it will take you to achieve that particular goal. It's best to round off the numbers into 1 year, 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year time frame. For example, you may estimate that it will take you 10 years to research and write the book on your family history, but you'll need only 5 years to reach a position where you can take a trip to the pyramids. Create a time frame like this for every one of your long-term goals. When you're finished entering your time frames, there should be a fairly balanced distribution for all your goals. If there are many 1- and 3-year objectives, but only a few in the 10-year category, maybe you need to think more about what you really want your life to add up to. What kind of life you really want to build over the long run. But if there's a preponderance of 10-year goals and relatively few of the shorter-term variety, this may be an indication that you tend to put things off. Keep working on your list, adding and subtracting goals.
Hello, good morning,
from various time
everyone.
frames
Hello.
until you've created a more or
Welcome
less even
to our live this
distribution.
morning, mga friends.
Now comes the really challenging and interesting part. So far, you've just been adding things to the list, but now it's time to start making some selections. Now you're going to start asking yourself, it's really important compared to what might just be fun. Choose 4 goals from each of the 4 time frames: 1 year, 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year. You now have 16 separate goals. So far, you've only referred to them in shorthand fashion, but now you're going to start seeing them very clearly in your mind's eye. You're going to see each goal just as if it were being realized this very minute, and you're going to write down a detailed description of exactly what you see. Do you intend to open a handmade furniture store in 3 years? What will the store look like from the street? Will there be gold leaf lettering on the windows, or will there be a sign hanging over the door instead? How many square feet will the store contain? Will there be a showroom area for the furniture in front and a workspace in back? Or will the furniture be built at a different location? Do you intend to have any employees? Or will you run the business entirely by yourself? Think of all the questions that need to be answered in order to see your goal with absolute clarity, and then write the information down. That written record will become one of your most important personal possessions. But that's not all. Any goal is a powerful motivator only if there's a powerful reason behind it. Why do you want to achieve your goals? Why do you want to own a handmade furniture store, or a private airplane, or a newspaper in a small town in Vermont? Why do you want to compete in a triathlon, or visit the Australian outback, or be the first woman in your family to earn a PhD? Write down your reasons for wanting each goal in the same degree of detail that you use to write your descriptions. If you can't find a clear and convincing reason for each of your 16 goals, do some serious reevaluating. You may have more whims or pipe dreams than real goals, and now is the right time to make that discovery. Keep working on your list until you have 16 clearly envisioned, strongly motivating long-term goals. At regular intervals, review what you've written and keep careful track of your progress toward these objectives. Above all, persevere. Goal setting is a very important first step, but goal achievement is a continuous, lifelong process. That's what makes it so challenging. That's also why it's so extremely rewarding to finally attain your long-term goals. Some people never will have much. They're too cautious. Now, you can also be too reckless, but you can also be too cautious. This is called the timid approach to life. And my caution was always the risk. Risk used to drive me right up the wall. I used to say, what if this happens? It's called the language of the poor. What if this happens? And on top of that, if this was to happen, look at the fix I'd be in. I'd better not try. I could always
Hi,
ace
hello
myself
to
out.
my 10 listener this
And I'll tell
morning.
you what changed my whole life when I finally discovered it's all risky. The minute you were born, it got risky. If you think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. If you think investing is risky, wait till you get the tab for not investing. See, it's all risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. Going into business is risky. Investing your money is risky. It's all risky. I'll tell you how risky life is. You're not going to get out alive. That's risky. The Englishman says, well, if that's the way it's going to work out, let's give it a go. Right, that's what it's for. Give it a go. Somebody says, yeah, but I'm looking for safety and security. Fine, then huddle in a corner. We'll cover you with a sheet, bring you 3 meals a day. And we'll protect you, feed you, look after you, care for you. We won't let anything happen to you. And you'll probably live to be 100. The guy said, well, yeah, I'd live to be 100. But what a way to live. Right. What a way to live, safe and secure. Don't ask for security. Ask for adventure. Better to live 30 years full of adventure than 100 years safe in the corner. And see, it's not important how long you live. What's important is how you live. I have 2 rules for setting goals. By following these rules, you will achieve a great deal and become more than you ever could have imagined. Here's the first rule. Don't set your goals too low. In leadership training, we teach a similar guideline. Don't join an easy crowd. You won't grow. Go where the expectations are high. Go where the demands are high. Go where the pressure is to perform, to grow, to change, to read, to study, to develop new skills. I belong to a small group of people that conducts business around the world. You would not believe what we expect of each other in terms of excellence. Why? So that we can each grow, so that we can contribute something unprecedented to the benefit of the group. It's called living at the summit. Go where the demands are high. Go where the expectations are so strong that they motivate you, push you, urgently insist that you not remain in the same place. That way, you will grow and change. So don't set your goals too low. What about the guy who says, well, I don't need much? He is guaranteed not to become much. Here's rule number 2 for setting goals. Don't compromise. Don't sell out. There were some things back in the early years for which I paid too big a price. If I had known how much it was going to cost me, I never would have paid that price. But I didn't know it at the time. Don't sell out, and as the old saying goes, count the costs. Remember, in that ancient story, Judas got the money. That sounds like a success story, and it is true that 30 pieces of silver in those days was a sizable fortune. But having a name that is synonymous with traitor is not what I would call a success story. Interestingly enough, when Judas got the money after becoming a traitor, he was unhappy. He wasn't unhappy with the money. He was unhappy with himself. You see, the greatest source of unhappiness doesn't come from the outside world. The greatest source of unhappiness comes from within. To alleviate his unhappiness, Judas tried to return the money, but no one would take it back. So he decided to just throw the money away. Why would he throw his fortune away? Because he was so unhappy with himself. Of course, that wasn't the end of the scenario. Throwing his fortune away did not change what Judas had become, a traitor. In total frustration, he hung himself. Why did Judas have such a tragic end? because he was so unhappy with himself. He sold out. He paid too big a price. Don't compromise your values. Don't compromise your virtues. Don't compromise your philosophy. There are two words from ancient scripture you need to keep in mind. The first is beware. This is the negative word. Be aware of what you become in pursuit of what you want. Don't sell out. Indeed, if Judas were to advise us today, he would tell us to beware. The second word, behold, is the positive one. Behold the possibilities and the opportunity. Behold the drama. Behold the awesomeness. Behold the uniqueness. Behold the majesty. What a positive word. Behold. Set the kind of goals that will transform your life. That will make you far better than you are, far stronger than you currently are, and you will behold. Two things will change your life, how-tos and why-tos, and we're going to cover both of those. But before we get to the details, what to do, let me give you the broad answer first. Here it is. Tomorrow, you can do the most remarkable things, no matter what happens. Let's start with that. Human beings can do unbelievable things, incredible things. A man can do the most amazing things with the most unamazing circumstances. A woman can do the most remarkable things with the most disastrous circumstances. There's plenty of proof. I found out kids can do remarkable things. That is, if they have remarkable things to do. I also found out if they don't have remarkable things to do, no telling what they'll do. But see, kids can do remarkable things. People can do remarkable things. I'll tell you why human beings can do remarkable things. It's because they are remarkable. That's why they're not dogs, animals, fish, birds, amoebas. Humans are different than any other creation. When a dog starts with weeds, he winds up with weeds. And the reason is because he's a dog. But that's not true with human beings. Human beings can start with weeds and turn them into gardens. That's the advantage, being a human versus being a dog, turning weeds into gardens. Human beings can turn nothing into something, pennies into fortune, disaster into success. And the reason humans can do those remarkable things is because they are remarkable. So if I had a word with you tonight, one-on-one, just you and me, I think my personal advice to you would be, this year, 1981, reach down inside of you and come up with some more of those remarkable human gifts. They're there, waiting to be utilized. And then change anything for you you want to change. And I challenge you to do that because you can change. If you don't like how it is for you, change it. If it doesn't suit you, change it. If it doesn't please you, change it. If it isn't enough, change it. And I challenge you to do that because you can change. See, you don't ever have to be the same again after tonight, only by choice. If you don't like your present address, change it. You're not a tree. Now, let me give you 3 steps to personal development. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What does it take to really make the changes starting tomorrow? It takes more than philosophical pronouncement. I know that. It also takes more than enthusiasm. I know we're hearing a lot about enthusiasm these days, but see, that just won't do the job. We're still hearing the old cliches of the 30s, right? To be enthusiastic, you must act enthusiastic. But see, that's not going to help. After you have leaped about, there are some things you've got to do, or it isn't going to change. See, you can get all excited about lifting 200 pounds till you get to the gym. And then you need a new excitement. And the new excitement is called discipline. Major step to human progress. Discipline. If there's one thing to get excited over, that's it. Get excited over your ability to make yourself do the necessary things. What could you make yourself do starting tomorrow that would change it all? No. Tell. Now, see, that's exciting. On any given day, you can massively change the direction of your life. Murder is a clear example that any one person on any given day can forever alter the course of their life. It just happens to be a negative act. But just as sure as you can commit a negative act, you can also commit a positive act and forever alter your life whenever you wish. Now that's exciting. And whatever that act might be that changes your life. The guy finally takes a shotgun to his car and blows out every window, destroys every tire, puts 100 rounds in this shabby old thing. And he says, I have driven this embarrassing thing for the last time. And not only will I never drive it again, nobody else will ever drive it again. And he lets that shuddering thing stand there for a while as a monument to the day he said, today my life changes. Now who can do that? Anybody. When can you do it? Whatever day you pick. Now here's the key to discipline. Start with the little disciplines, get excited over the little disciplines, and get right on those because those will lead to the big ones. You can't handle the big challenges in life unless you take on the little ones. Make a list of all the things you can do. Get right on those. Discipline yourself for those, both for the results and for the muscle and for the practice. So that when life hands you some big challenges, you'll be ready, you'll have the muscle. But see, if you don't handle the small ones, you can't take care of the big ones. Okay, here's what else it takes for life change. Self-motivation. Key phrase, self-motivation. I don't know why we call it self-motivation. It's really the only kind there is. You got to motivate yourself. Because I found out you can't change people. They can change themselves, but you can't change them. Lord knows some I've tried. But see, it won't work. People have to change themselves. I learned some of those lessons early. I built a little sales organization way back in those early days. I'm 25. And I had some nice people. I said, I'm going to make these people successful if it kills me. I almost died. You can't do that.
Hey there. I'm here to shine a little light on how you can slash those climbing electric bills. Ever opened your electric bill and felt like you just got zapped? You're not alone. Here in the Philippines, we're all too familiar with that feeling. But what if I told you there's a way to cut those costs down significantly? Let's dive into the world of solar energy with Solana4U, a leading solar company.
See, I've discovered this. Good people are not trained, they're found. You find good people. You don't make them good, you find them good. Training really is for the purpose of finding good people. You don't need much instruction for a good person. But too much training probably means you got the wrong people. So you got to find the right people. That's the key to getting a good job done. One of the major things we learn in management, lesson 1, don't send your ducks to Eagle School. Because it won't help. I mean, I'm telling you, it won't help, no matter how good your school is. And the little eagle badge and little eagle hat, I'm telling you, it won't help. It won't help. You can tell whether your school's done any good, right, is when it's over, right? The duck goes for his first rabbit and makes him a friend. You say, no. Anyway, so it takes self-motivation to really alter your life. And you don't want to give self-motivation away to somebody else and make it somebody else motivating you. The guy says, boy, if somebody just come by and turn me on. What if they don't show up? Right? See, you got to have a better plan for your life. Okay. Now, if you're excited and you're ready to change, let me give you 3 steps to start life change that can change your life, your personality, your lifestyle, everything can change. Here's the steps. Number 1, find out how things work. The first key to doing better is find out. To change your life, really, you need ideas. There isn't anything an idea can't change. And Schultz taught me the major problem is lack of an idea, not a problem. At first, I didn't have any money. I said to Mr. Schultz, I don't have any money. He said, that's not a problem. Now, see, up until then, I always thought it was. Right? I was confused. He said, no, the problem is lack of an idea on how to create money and wealth. It isn't lack of money, it's lack of ideas. So if you get the ideas, see, you can change anything. Now, to get ideas, you need a constant study of finding out. Now, Schultz also said, when you find out something that works, put the information in your journal. Don't use your head for a filing cabinet. Put it in your journal so that you can do the next best thing. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Go over it. And if you repeat it, go over it, sure enough, someday, some mysterious day, the idea takes root, starts to grow, and shows up in your bank account, and your dress, and your personality, and your lifestyle. But capture the ideas in your journal. Find out how things work. Schultz gave me this word for my life change. He said, study. Great word. If you wish to be successful, study success. If you wish to be happy, study happiness. If you wish to be wealthy, study wealth. Don't leave it to chance. Make it a study. Some people just go through the day with their fingers crossed. See, that won't do it. You've got to study the things that can change your economic, social, spiritual, personal life. Now, here's a qualifying phrase. And we'll have several of these qualifying phrases throughout the seminar. Here's the first one. You may not be able to do all you find out. I understand that. You may not be able to do all you find out, but you should find out all you can do. See, you don't want to wind up at the end of your life and discover that you've lived only 1/10 of it. And the other 9/10 went down the drain. Not for lack of opportunity, for lack of information. So that's number 1, find out how things work. Now here's the best human virtue for finding out, curiosity. Make a note of that, curiosity, be curious. You might add a word to it that'll help, childish curiosity. What will kids do if they want to know something bad? Bug you, that's the phrase. They can ask 1,000 questions. You think they're through? They got another 1,000. They'll drive you to the brink. It's a virtue. When you gotta know, be like a child. In fact, Jesus, the master teacher, said, unless you can become like little children, you might as well forget it. You don't have a prayer. Excellent advice. You gotta be like children. 4 ways, in my opinion, to be like a child. Number 1 is curiosity. Number 2 is excitement. Get excited like a child over your ability to make yourself do anything for change. 3rd is faith. Have faith like a child. Adults are too skeptical. And 4th is trust. Trust is a childish virtue, but the rewards are incredible. So be like a child. Now, if you're curious, let me give you 3 ways to find out how to change anything. Any life direction, any dimension. Here's 3 ways to find out how to change anything. Number 1 is to read. Become a good reader. All of the successful people I know and work with around the world, they're all good readers. Curiosity drives them to read. They gotta know. They just Just read, 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 read. Become a good reader. Now, that's my opinion. Listen to the other lecturers and listen to me and make up your own mind. Don't be a follower. Be a student. Okay? I say, really, for life change, you got to read. One way to learn is from your own experiences, but another way to learn is from other people's experiences. See, one book might save you 5 years if you read. Did you know there's books on how to be stronger, more decisive? Be a speaker, be a leader, have a better effect on other people, develop your personality. Did you know there's books on that? And people don't read them? How would you explain that? And they can read. Did you know that hundreds of successful people have written their stories in books and they wrote down how they did it and people don't read it? How would you explain that? Well, the guy's busy, I guess. You know, you get tied up. The guy says, well, yeah, you work where I work. By the time you struggle home, it's late. You got to eat a bite of supper, watch a little TV, get to bed. You can't sit up half the night reading, 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 reading. And the guy's behind on his car payment. Good worker, hard worker, sincere. But you got to be better than sincere and work hard. Otherwise, at the end of your life, you'll wind up cold, stony broke. You've got to be better than a good worker. You've got to be a good reader. My opinion. Now, you don't have to read half the night. Okay? Although if you're broke, that's not a bad place to start, right? Get on with the cure. But put this in your notes, 30 minutes a day. Just devote 30 minutes a day to reading. Stretch it to an hour if you can. But at least 30 minutes. Half rich isn't bad. Minutes a day, read something positive, something challenging, something inspirational, something instructional, at least 30 minutes a day. And here's the next clue. Every day. Don't miss. Once you set this up, just don't miss. Miss a meal, but not your 30 minutes. Because you can get along without some meals, but you can't get along without some books. There's a Bible phrase that says humans cannot live on bread alone or just food. It says the next most important thing to food is words. Words nourish the mind, makes us different than animals and dogs. Words nourish the soul. So humans have to have food and words in order to be happy and healthy. I told my staff the other day, some people read so little, they've got rickets of the mind. They're undernourished mentally. So to get a good diet of words, I suggest good reading habits, 30 minutes a day. Now, some people don't read because they don't read well. I understand that. And the national average is fairly poor. People have fairly poor reading skills. They're still trying to operate on awkward old skills of the past, right? Reading one word at a time. And with such poor skills, when you read, the mind usually wanders. Because you can think about a lot of things. The mind is an incredible mechanism. And if you read poorly, the mind wanders around thinking of other things while you're trying to read. Did you ever read a page and wonder what it said? Right? Say, I got to read that again. Right? That's because the mind is just doing this job, right? Just wandering around. Did you ever read yourself to sleep? See, that's another problem. The mind says, who needs this? Just shuts off, right? Untaxed, right? Poor skills. Well, a guy looks at a book, 500 pages, and says, no use starting, right? I mean, I'd never get through this one. Anyway, in our weekend seminar, we take a whole section, about 2-3 hours, and we go through reading skills. How to read a book a day is the title of that subject. And I'll tell you what, if you can read a book a day, it'll change your whole life. I mean, a book a day will change your whole life. Expose yourself to a whole variety of things. Spiritual, moral, personal, economic, history, geography, everything. I mean, you can really change if you read a book a day. So you might want to attend the weekend, get in on those reading class skills. It's incredible. A book a day will change your life. But hey, whether you read slow or fast,
into your hand, I commit again. What was this? Silent. Where promises, Jesus, I believe in you. Jesus, I belong to you. You're the reason that I live, the reason that I sing for you. Jesus, I believe it's you. So hello. Good morning mga friends. Good morning. And for today's live, we're going to listen the motivational speech of some of my
Si Rupa
favorite.
Gutierrez, biglang bumata ng 20 taon kahit pa malapit na siyang mag-anim na po. Akala ng lahat nagpa-facelift siya, pero ang totoo.
Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly focused on yourself? Not on what others are doing, not on their opinions, their success, or their approval. Just you, your growth, your dreams, your peace. Most people spend their lives looking outward, comparing, explaining, proving, and chasing. But what if I told you that everything changes the moment you stop? What if the real breakthrough happens when you shift your focus inward and stay silent? Stay with me until the end of this video and you'll discover why focusing on yourself is the most powerful decision you will ever make, why most people stay stuck. The truth is, most people are trapped in a cycle. They wake up, scroll through their phones, and instantly compare their lives to others. They overthink every action, worrying about what people might say. They feel the need to explain themselves, to prove they are worthy, to defend their choices. And in doing so, they waste precious energy that could be used for self-growth. Why do people do this? Because deep down, they are programmed to seek validation. Human psychology tells us that from an early age, we learn to measure ourselves based on others. We want approval, we want recognition, we want to be
Hello mga
liked.
friends.
But
Punta
here's the
muna ako
harsh
sa baba.
truth.
Manguha ako ng gulay
Seeking
kasi one of my
external
friend
validation is the
naghihingi ng
fastest
gulay
way to
araw.
lose yourself. The more you focus on others, the less you focus on your own power. And the less you focus on yourself, the further you drift from the life you are meant to live. The power of silence and self-focus. Imagine this. You walk into a room, and instead of trying to impress anyone, you observe. You listen, you stay silent, you focus on your energy. What happens? You command attention without saying a word because confidence isn't loud, it's quiet. Power isn't in words, it's in presence. When you stop talking and start doing, people notice. When you stop explaining and start growing, the world reacts. But here's the secret. You don't need their reaction. You don't need their approval. The moment you stop seeking it, you become unstoppable. Silence forces people to wonder. It makes them curious. It shifts their focus to you, even when you're not trying. And most importantly, it allows you to hear the only voice that truly matters, your own. Why most people can't handle it, let me warn you. When you start focusing on yourself and staying silent, people won't understand. Some will say you've changed. Some will think you're distant. Some will even try to pull you back into old habits. That's because most people fear growth. When they see you evolving, they feel left behind. But here's what you must remember. You owe no one an explanation. You owe no one your energy. You are not responsible for their comfort. Your only responsibility is to yourself, to grow, to evolve, to become who you were meant to be. Your reward for watching until the end. By the time you reach the end of this video, you will understand a truth that most people never realize. The greatest power you have is your ability to focus inward, to build in silence, to grow without permission. And when you do that, everything around you starts to shift. Most people don't even realize they're trapped. They wake up every day, scrolling through other people's lives, drowning in noise, chasing approval that never truly satisfies. They are constantly looking outward. Who's watching? Who's judging? Who's ahead? Who's behind? But here's the harsh truth. The more you focus on others, the more you lose yourself. Distractions are everywhere. Social media, gossip, opinions, drama, it all pulls you in, keeping your mind occupied with things that don't help you grow. And the worst part, it feels normal. It feels like you're just keeping up with the world. But in reality, you are wasting the most valuable thing you have, your focus. Your energy is like currency. Every thought you give to someone else is energy taken away from yourself. Every second spent worrying about what others are doing is a second lost in building your own success. And most people don't even realize they are bleeding energy into things that don't serve them. Why people chase distractions, human psychology is wired for connection. From childhood, people are taught to fit in, to be accepted, to be part of the group. That's why it feels natural to focus on what others think. It's why people crave attention, why they overshare, why they constantly seek validation. But here's what most people don't understand. Every time you explain yourself to someone who doesn't care, you give away power. Every time you react to negativity, you let someone else control your emotions. Every time you compare your journey to someone else's, you tell yourself that your own path isn't enough. And this is how people stay stuck. Not because they lack potential, not because they aren't capable, but because they are pouring their energy into everything except themselves. How to break free from the distraction trap. The first step to reclaiming your power is awareness. You must recognize what is stealing your focus. Look at your daily habits. How much time do you spend checking your phone? How often do you get caught in meaningless conversation? How many times do you feel the urge to prove something to someone else? Once you see the distractions for what they are, time wasters, energy drainers, confidence killers, you can start cutting them out. You don't owe anyone your attention. You don't have to explain your choices. The moment you choose to disengage from the noise, you take back control. Here's the truth. The most successful people in the world are not the loudest. They are the most focused. They are not chasing approval. They are chasing purpose. And that requires silence. That requires discipline. That requires stepping away from the distractions and turning all that energy inward. The psychological shift that changes everything. When you stop reacting to every little thing, something incredible happens. Your mind clears. Your energy shifts. You stop feeling drained because you are no longer giving away your power to meaningless things. And people notice. They sense your shift. They feel your detachment. Suddenly, the ones who used to control you with their opinions start to wonder why you're so unbothered. The ones who expected a reaction from you are left in silence. And silence is powerful, because when you no longer seek validation, you become untouchable. You don't need to announce your growth. You don't need to explain your silence. True power is moving in a way that speaks for itself. And the moment you break free from distractions and turn your focus inward, life starts to move in your favor. You stop chasing and opportunities start chasing you. You stop explaining and people start respecting you. You stop reacting and suddenly you hold all the power. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves to know your thoughts, your plans, your struggles, or your victories. The truth is, the more you protect your energy, the more powerful you become. Most people give away their energy without even realizing it. They engage in arguments that don't matter. They waste time explaining themselves to people who don't care. They allow negativity to enter their minds and drain their focus. And by doing this, they lose control over their own lives. But here's something to think about. If you woke up every morning with a limited amount of money in your bank account, Would you waste it on things that don't serve you? No. You would invest it wisely. You would protect it. You would make sure it grows. Your energy works the same way. Every morning you wake up with a limited amount of focus, motivation, and emotional strength. And every conversation, every reaction, every distraction takes a piece of that energy. The question is, are you spending it wisely? Why some people drain your energy, some people thrive on attention. They want to pull you into their drama. They want your reaction. They want your time because they have nothing meaningful in their own lives. And if you're not careful, these people will drain you without you even noticing. There are people who only call when they need something, people who only show up when they want gossip, people who get uncomfortable when they see you growing. These people will question your silence. They will try to pull you back into old patterns. But that's not your problem. It's human nature to crave connection, but not every connection is good for you. Some connections slow you down, some weaken you, some destroy your peace. And the moment you realize this, everything changes. How to protect your energy and stay unshaken. The most powerful thing you can do is become selective with your energy. Not everyone deserves a response. Not every situation needs your reaction. Not every opinion requires your attention. You have to train yourself to walk away, to stop explaining, to stop justifying, to stop trying to prove yourself to people who will never understand your path. Because when you do this, you take back your power. Here's how you do it. Set clear boundaries. If a conversation drains you, leave it. If a person disrespects your peace, remove them. You don't have to tolerate what doesn't serve you. Practice silence. The less you say, the more people wonder. The less you react, the more control you have. Power is in restraint, not in over-explaining. Stay focused on yourself. Every second spent on someone else's negativity is a second lost from your own progress. Keep your energy where it matters, on your growth, your goals, your peace. What happens when you stop wasting energy? When you stop wasting your energy on meaningless things, life rewards you. You gain mental clarity, you move with confidence, you stop feeling exhausted because your energy is no longer being drained by things that don't matter. And people feel it, they see your shift. The ones who used to control your emotions will notice that they no longer have power over you. The ones who expected you to react will be met with silence. And silence is louder than words. The greatest form of power is not proving yourself. It's not arguing. It's not seeking validation. It's focusing on yourself so deeply that nothing external can shake you. When you reach this level, everything changes. You no longer chase, but you attract. You no longer react, but you observe. You no longer explain, but you show through action. Emotional detachment is not about becoming cold. It's not about shutting people out or living without feeling. It's about mastering control over your own emotions so that nothing and no one can shake your peace. Most people suffer because they are too attached to opinions, to expectations, to outcomes, to people who do not value them. They let the smallest things ruin their mood. A negative comment, a delayed response, a missed opportunity. It all affects them deeply because they are too emotionally invested in things beyond their control. But here's the truth. The more attached you are, the more you suffer. The more you react, the weaker you become. The more you depend on external validation, the more you give away your power. And this is why so many people stay stuck. They are too connected to things that drain them instead of focusing on things that build them. Why detachment is the key to freedom. Detachment is not about not caring. It's about caring differently. It's about shifting your energy from things you cannot control to things that truly matter. It's about understanding that your peace is your responsibility, not something to be given away carelessly. Think about this. When you give someone the power to control your emotions, you hand them control over your life. When someone can make you angry with a few words, they own you. When someone's opinion can make you doubt yourself, they control you. But when you detach, when you stop giving away that power, you become unstoppable. Detachment allows you to stay calm in chaos. No matter what happens around you, you remain centered. Protect your energy. You no longer waste time on things that don't serve you. Make better decisions. When emotions don't cloud your judgment, you think clearly. This is why the strongest people in the world practice detachment. They don't react, They don't chase, they don't beg, they stay in control always. How to develop emotional detachment. Detachment is a skill. It's something you build over time through discipline and awareness. And once you master it, life changes in ways you never imagined. Here's how you do it. Stop explaining yourself. The more you explain, the more people feel entitled to your energy. Let your actions speak. Let go of expectations. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will support you. And that's okay. You don't need permission to grow. Control your reactions. Every time you react emotionally, you give power to someone else. Learn to pause. Learn to breathe. Learn to respond, not react. Stay in your lane. Focus on your goals. Stop worrying about what others are doing. The more attention you give to your path, the faster you move forward. What happens when you detach? When you detach, something incredible happens. People start to notice your shift. The ones who used to control your emotions no longer have power over you. The ones who expected you to react are met with silence. The ones who doubted you are forced to watch you rise. And here's the best part. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. When you stop reacting, you start winning. When you stop seeking validation, you start feeling truly free. Detachment is not about running away from life. It's about living life on your own terms. It's about being so focused on your own peace, your own growth, your own success, that nothing external can disturb you. There is a reason the most powerful people in the world do not speak unless necessary. They understand that silence is not emptiness, it is control. It is a shield that protects your energy and a weapon that shifts the power in any situation. Most people talk too much. They feel the need to explain, to justify, to prove themselves to people who don't even care. They respond to every insult. They engage in arguments that drain them. They react emotionally to every situation. And by doing this, they give away their strength. But the moment you choose silence, everything changes. You no longer react to things that don't deserve your energy, yourself to people who have already their minds. You let your actions speak so loudly that words become unnecessary. Silence is misunderstood. Weak people think silence means surrender. They assume that if you don't react, you have lost. But strong people know the truth. Strategy, it makes people bitter. It makes them uncomfortable. It forces them to deal with thoughts instead of distracting themselves with your reactions. Why you must stop explaining yourself. Not everyone deserves an explanation. Not everyone needs to understand your choices. And most importantly, not everyone is capable of seeing your vision. When you constantly explain yourself, you are looking for approval. You are seeking validation. And the moment you seek validation, you give power to someone else. But here's the truth. Most people don't even care. They are too wrapped up in their own world to truly understand yours. So why waste your breath? You do not owe anyone an explanation for your goals. Your vision is yours alone. No one else needs to believe in it. Your growth, outgrowing people, habits, or environments is natural. You don't have to justify it, your boundaries. If something drains you, you have the right to walk away. No explanation needed. When you stop explaining yourself, you take back your power. You move in silence. You make decisions without seeking permission. You become untouchable. How to use silence as a power move. Silence is not just the absence of words. It is the presence of discipline. It is a conscious choice to stay in control instead of reacting emotionally. And when you learn how to use it, you become unstoppable. Here's how to make silence your greatest weapon. Pause before reacting. When someone tries to trigger you, don't give them what they want. Breathe, stay calm, let them deal with their own emotions. Let people wonder. The less you say, the more they think. The more they think, the more they respect your presence. Observe more, speak less, pay attention to how people act, not just what they say. Words can lie, but actions always reveal the truth. Walk away from unnecessary conversations. Not everything needs a response. Not everyone deserves a reaction. Choose where to place your energy. What happens when you stay silent? When you embrace silence, something powerful happens. People start to notice your shift. They become curious about what you're thinking. They realize they no longer have access to your emotion. The ones who used to manipulate you with words will struggle because they can no longer control your reactions. The ones who used to drain your energy will feel powerless because you no longer feed their negativity. And most importantly, you will feel a deep sense of peace. You will no longer feel the need to prove yourself. You will stop over-explaining, over-apologizing, overthinking. Instead, you will move with confidence, knowing that your silence speaks volumes. Nothing confuses people more than your silence. Nothing disturbs them more than your decision to walk away without explanation. People expect a reaction. They want you to argue, to defend yourself, to fight for their approval. But the moment you choose silence and distance, you shift the power. Walking away is not weakness, it is strength. It means you value your peace more than someone else's chaos. It means you refuse to participate in battles that drain you. It means you understand your worth and will not stay where you are not valued. Most people stay too long in situations that hurt them. They beg for respect. They explain their boundaries. They give second chances, third chances, endless chances. And in doing so, they teach others that their time and energy are disposable. But when you walk away without a word, you send a message. You show that you are not desperate for anyone's validation. You prove that your self-respect is stronger than your attachment. And that is what makes people regret losing you. Why people struggle to let go. Letting go is hard, not because you need the person, but because of the emotional investment you've made. You hold on to memories. You hold on to what you thought things could be. You replay conversations in your head, trying to make sense of what went wrong. But here's what you need to understand. Holding on to the past only keeps you stuck. The more you dwell on what could have been, the more power you give away. And the more power you give away, the harder it becomes to move forward. The truth is, people show you who they are through their actions. And when someone disrespects you, ignores you, or takes you for granted, they have already made their choice. It's your turn to make yours. Will you keep holding on, hoping they will change, or will you walk away and choose yourself? How walking away shifts the power. Most people believe that confronting someone is the strongest move. They think explaining, debating, and proving a point will create change. But real power is in your ability to leave without a fight. Walking away protects your dignity. You don't beg for respect. You show it to yourself. Shocks those who took you for granted. When they realize you are truly gone, they start to see your value. Gives you emotional freedom. No longer tied to toxic cycles, you find peace. Reclaims your power. You shift your focus from them to yourself. People notice when you disappear. They feel the absence of your energy. They realize the value you brought to their life. And by the time they do, you've already moved on. How to walk away without looking back. Detachment is a process. It requires discipline. It requires the strength to put yourself first, even when emotions try to pull you back. Here's how to master it. Stop seeking closure. The closure you need is realizing that someone's actions were the answer all along. Remove all access. No texts, no calls, no social media stalking. The less you know, the easier it is to move forward. Redirect your focus. Pour your energy into growth, success, and self-improvement. Let your progress be your response. Remind yourself of your worth. When you truly value yourself, you don't settle for less than you deserve. Walking away is not about proving a point to them. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about choosing peace over drama. It's about choosing yourself over situations that no longer serve you. And when you do, life rewards you. New opportunities come, the right people enter, your mind becomes clearer, your energy becomes lighter. Silence is not emptiness. It is a statement, a powerful, undeniable presence that speaks louder than any words ever could. Most people misunderstand silence. They think it's weakness. They assume it means you have nothing to say, that you've given up, that you're defeated. But in reality, silence is a weapon, a shield, a form of control that shifts the energy in any situation. People expect reactions. They expect explanations, justifications, and emotional outbursts. But when you remain silent, you break the cycle. You deny them the satisfaction of controlling your emotions. You stop playing the game they set up for you. When you respond, when you argue, when you try to make someone understand your point of view, you give them power. You let them dictate your energy. But when you say nothing, you force them to sit with their own words and actions. And that silence, it's uncomfortable for them. It makes them question everything. Why? Silence holds so much power There's a reason why the most confident, successful, and emotionally intelligent people in the world understand the value of silence. Because silence keeps people guessing. It makes them wonder what you're thinking. It creates an air of mystery that makes you unpredictable. When you stop explaining yourself, people don't know what to expect from you anymore. And when they don't know what to expect, they can no longer control you. Silence makes people uncomfortable because it forces them to reflect. It forces them to confront their own thoughts without your influence. And that's when the shift happens. They start questioning themselves. They replay past conversations trying to figure out what went wrong. They begin to feel the weight of their own actions. And suddenly the power that once rested in their hands, it's now in yours. How silence protects your energy. The world is full of distractions, full of noise, full of people who want to pull you into their chaos, into their drama, into their negativity. But when you master silence, you protect yourself. Silence shields you from unnecessary conflict. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every argument deserves your attention. Silence saves you from regret. When emotions are high, words can be weapons, and once spoken, they can't be taken back. Silence gives you control over your emotions. You stop reacting. You start responding with intention. Silence forces people to respect you. When you don't explain yourself, people start respecting your boundaries. When you go silent, when you detach, when you stop seeking validation from others, you become untouchable. No one can manipulate you. No one can bait you into their negativity. The discipline of staying silent, silence requires discipline. It's not easy to hold back when you want to defend yourself. It's not easy to stay quiet when someone is provoking you, but when you do, you win. When someone disrespects you, let them. When someone underestimates you, let them. When someone spreads lies about you, let them. Let them think what they want. Let them say what they want. Your silence is your power. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. The moment you stop reacting, you start winning. Because the people who truly know your worth, they don't need explanations. And the people who don't, they don't deserve one. Most people think they need to speak up to be heard. They believe that the louder they are, the more respect they will get. But true respect isn't demanded, it's commanded, and silence commands it more powerfully than words ever could. When you stop reacting, people start paying attention. They start wondering what's going on in your mind. They become aware of your presence in a way they never did before. They start to feel your energy, your confidence, your control. And that's when something changes. They begin to respect you, not because you forced them to, not because you demanded it, but because your silence made them reconsider how they treat you. Think about the most powerful people in any room. They don't rush to speak. They don't argue over small things. They observe, they listen, and when they do speak, every word carries weight. Why people struggle with silence? Most people fear silence because they can't control it. They use words as a way to fill the emptiness, to justify themselves, to seek validation. But that constant need to explain, to prove, to defend, it's a weakness. Silence, on the other hand, is strength. It shows that you are secure in yourself, that you don't need to explain, that you don't need to react. But society has conditioned people to believe that silence is awkward, that it's uncomfortable, that if you're not talking, something is wrong. This is why so many people struggle with it. They don't realize that silence is actually a tool, a weapon, a statement that cannot be misinterpreted. When you stay silent in situations where most people would explode, you show control. When you don't respond to provocation, you show discipline. When you choose not to waste energy on unnecessary conversations, you show intelligence. The power of saying nothing, people will test you. They will push your buttons. They will try to get a reaction out of you. And the moment you react, they win. But when you say nothing, when you don't engage, don't explain, don't justify, they lose control. Someone insults you, stay silent. Someone tries to make you feel small, stay silent. Someone spreads lies about you, stay silent. Not because you are weak, not because you don't have anything to say, but because your silence forces them to face their own words. It forces them to sit with their own insecurities. It forces them to see that their power over you doesn't exist. And that realization, it's more powerful than any argument you could ever win. How to use silence to your advantage. Silence isn't just about avoiding conflict. It's about controlling the energy around you. In conversations, speak less. Let others fill the space. They will reveal more than they intend. In arguments, walk away. Nothing frustrates a toxic person more than being ignored. In relationships, stop explaining yourself. The right people will understand you without endless words. In life, keep your plans to yourself. Let your results do the talking. When you stop speaking unnecessarily, you create space for what truly matters. You start valuing your energy, your peace, your presence, and you stop wasting time on things that don't serve you. This is the discipline most people lack. The ability to stay quiet, the ability to detach, the ability to let people wonder instead of giving them answers. Silence separates you from the crowd. Most people are desperate for attention. They want to be seen, heard, validated. But the moment you step back, the moment you stop explaining, stop chasing, stop just, you become different. You become someone who doesn't need approval, someone who doesn't need. When you choose silence, something powerful happens inside you. You start to hear yourself. You start to understand what truly matters. You begin to separate what deserves your energy from what doesn't. Most people are afraid of silence because it forces them to face their thoughts. They use distractions, conversations, and noise to escape the uncomfortable truth about their lives. But when you embrace silence, you gain something most people never will: clarity. Clarity about who you are, clarity about where you're going, clarity about who deserves to be in your life and who doesn't. In silence, you start to realize how much energy you've been wasting on arguments that don't matter, on people who don't value you, on battles that aren't worth fighting. You see how much noise has been clouding your vision, keeping you stuck in cycles that don't serve you. Silence reveals who's really for you. When you stop chasing, when you stop explaining, when you stop trying to prove your worth, people's true colors appear. Some will disappear, some will get angry, some will try harder to pull you back into the noise. But the ones who matter, they will stay. They will respect your silence. They will understand it. They won't need constant validation, constant reassurance, constant explanations. This is how you separate real connections from temporary ones. This is how you identify who is in your life for the right reasons and who is only there because they benefit from your energy. The moment you stop feeding relationships with endless words, you see who still stands beside you. And that truth, it's liberating. The world moves differently for the silent. Silence is a sign of power. It's the mark of someone who doesn't need to prove themselves, someone who is confident enough to let their actions speak louder than their words. The loudest people in the room are often the weakest. They shout, they argue, they demand attention. But the most influential people, they observe, they listen, they wait. And when they do speak, their words hit harder because they don't speak out of
Thank you so
impulse,
much,
they speak
James
with intention.
Langston. Hi.
When
Thank
you
you.
embrace silence, you start to move differently. You stop explaining your every decision. You stop defending your choices to people who don't understand your vision. You stop seeking approval. Instead, you
Hello. Mega love shout out to James Langston. Hi, hello, my friend. Good morning. Oh, how sad your story that was. You lost your job. Oh my God. So anyway, hope you are okay now. You move forward. So the situation that you have in the past. So take care, my friend. God bless
focus.
you.
You work in silence. You grow in silence. You let success be your voice. The strength in walking away. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every argument deserves a response. Not every insult requires a comeback. When you learn to walk away instead of reacting, you gain control over your life. Someone tries to provoke you, stay silent. Someone spreads lies about you, stay silent. Someone disrespects you, stay silent and remove yourself. Silence doesn't mean acceptance. It doesn't mean weakness. It means you refuse to waste energy on things beneath you. It means you recognize that not everything deserves your response. Most people engage in every battle because they feel the need to prove themselves. But true power comes from knowing when to walk away, from knowing that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on meaningless conflicts. How to master the power of silence. It's not easy to stay silent when you're used to defending yourself. It's not easy to walk away when you're used to proving a point. But here's how you start. Pause before you react. When someone triggers you, take a deep breath. Give yourself a moment before responding. Most of the time, you'll realize it's not worth it. Remove unnecessary words. Start speaking less. Cut out explanations that aren't needed. Watch how people's reactions change. Let actions replace words. Instead of telling people your plans, show them. Let your growth, your results, your discipline speak for you. Detach from external validation. The need to explain comes from seeking approval. Stop seeking it. Know your worth without needing others to confirm it. Embrace solitude. Spend time alone. Learn to be comfortable with your own thoughts. That's where true power is built. The less you say, the more people listen. The more you detach, the more control you gain. The quieter you become, the stronger you grow. Silence is not emptiness. It's not absence. It's a presence so powerful that it shifts everything around you. And when you master it, life moves differently. People treat you differently. People treat you differently. Opportunities come to you instead of you chasing them at permission. Someone who moves in silence, who grows in silence, who wins in silence. Energy is everything. It determines how you feel, how you think, and how you act. But too many people give their energy away carelessly. They spend it arguing, explaining, proving, and reacting to things that don't deserve their attention. When you choose silence, you protect your energy. You stop letting other people drain you with their negativity, their opinions, their need for drama. You take back control. Not everything needs a response. Not everything needs your input. Learning when to stay silent is one of the greatest skills you can develop, because when you hold your energy close, you become more powerful. Your energy is like a battery. Every time you react to negativity, you drain it. Every time you argue with someone who refuses to understand, you waste it. Every time you let someone's words control your emotions, you give them power over you. Silence keeps your energy intact. It forces people to deal with themselves instead of dragging you into their chaos. It makes them wonder, question, and respect you in ways that words never could. Silence makes you unpredictable. Most people are easy to read. You say something and they react. You push a button and they respond. They are controlled by their emotions, constantly showing the world exactly how to manipulate them. But when you stay silent, you become unpredictable. No one knows what you're thinking. No one knows what you'll do next. And that's power. People respect what they can't predict. They respect what they can't control. When you stop reacting, when you stop explaining, you force others to take you seriously. It's human psychology. People fear the unknown. And when you choose silence, you become an unknown force. Someone who is focused, disciplined, and not easily swayed by emotions. This is why some of the most powerful people in the world speak the least. They understand that silence creates presence. It creates mystery. It creates influence. Silence gives you time to think. The world is loud. People react too quickly. They speak without thinking. They let their emotions lead them into situations they later regret. But when you embrace silence, you give yourself a moment to think. A moment to process, a moment to choose your response instead of reacting out of impulse. Imagine how many conflicts could be avoided if people just paused before speaking. Imagine how much stronger relationships would be if people actually listened instead of just waiting to respond. Silence teaches patience. It teaches control. It forces you to slow down and choose your words wisely. And when you do speak, your words carry more weight. Because words spoken in haste are often weak, but words spoken with intention, those are powerful. The power of walking in silence. Have you ever noticed that the most successful people don't announce their every move? They don't talk about what they're going to do. They just do it. This is because they understand the power of walking in silence. When you move in silence, you remove distractions. You eliminate unnecessary opinions. You focus entirely on your goals without the noise of others influencing your direction. Not everyone needs to know what you're working on. Not everyone needs access to your plans. Because when you share too much, you invite resistance, doubt, and negativity into your path. Some people will pretend to support you, but secretly hope you fail. Some will discourage you because they're afraid of your potential. Others will try to steal your ideas before you even get a chance to execute them. This is why silence is so powerful. It keeps you protected, it keeps you focused, and when you finally achieve what you've been working on, your success will speak louder than any words ever could. How to use silence to change your life. Stop explaining yourself. You don't owe anyone a justification for your choices. If it makes sense to you, that's enough. Pause before you react. Don't let emotions control your responses. Give yourself a moment to think before you speak. Limit access to your plans. Move in silence. Work on your goals without seeking approval or validation. Detach from external noise. The opinions of others are just that, opinions. They don't define you. Let results speak for you. Instead of talking about what you're going to do, prove it with action. When you master silence, you master yourself. You gain control over your mind, your energy, and your future. Most people live in constant noise. They talk too much, they explain too much, and they let the world know their every move. But true strength comes from restraint, from knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. Silence is not just about what you don't say. It's about what you choose to focus on. It's about rising above distractions, cutting out unnecessary conversations, and keeping your mind free from the influence of other people's opinions. The average person feels the need to prove themselves, to explain their worth, to argue their point. But that's what keeps them stuck. They waste their energy trying to be understood instead of putting that energy into building themselves. The moment you stop engaging in meaningless conversations, you separate yourself from the average. You shift from seeking validation to owning your power. You begin to operate on a different level, where results matter more than words. And here's what happens when you do this. People start noticing. They start respecting you in ways they never did before. Not because you're loud, not because you demand attention, but because you carry yourself with an energy that speaks for itself. The less you speak, the more people listen. Think about the people who always talk, the ones who constantly share their thoughts, opinions, and ideas with no filter. How seriously do you take them? Now think about someone who rarely speaks, but when they do, their words carry weight. Their voice commands attention. Their silence makes people curious. This is the power of restraint. The less you speak, the more people listen. Because when you don't say much, every word you do say becomes valuable. This is why the most powerful people in the world are often the quietest. They understand that real influence comes not from how much you talk, but from how wisely you use your words. If you want people to take you seriously, stop explaining yourself all the time. Stop trying to convince people of your worth. Let your actions prove it. Because words without action are just noise. But silence combined with results is a statement. Silence protects you from manipulation. People who talk too much give away their weaknesses. They reveal their insecurities. They show the world exactly how to get into their minds and control their emotion. But when you stay silent, you become unpredictable. No one knows what you're thinking. No one knows how to manipulate you. No one knows how to shake your confidence. Silence protects you from people who want to use your words against you. It keeps you in control. It forces others to question, to wonder, to respect the fact that you don't reveal everything so easily. This is why silence is such a powerful psychological tool. It makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to deal with themselves instead of distracting themselves with your reactions. And when you refuse to engage in unnecessary drama, arguments, or mind games, you make it clear you are not someone who can be controlled. When you stop talking, you start observing. Most people miss what's happening around them because they're too busy talking. They don't notice people's true intentions. They don't see the red flags. They don't recognize the opportunities hiding in plain sight. But when you embrace silence, you start to observe. You start to pay attention. You start to see things that others don't. You notice the way people treat you when they think you're not paying attention. You hear what's being said in between the words. You see the truth behind the smiles, the lies behind the excuses, and the real meaning behind people's actions. Silence makes you smarter. It gives you an advantage. Because when you listen more than you speak, you gain knowledge that others overlook. And knowledge, that's power. How to use silence to strengthen yourself. Practice restraint. Not everything needs a response. Choose your words carefully and only speak when necessary. Observe more than you speak. Pay attention to people's actions, not just their words. Learn from what they don't say. Use silence as a test. Stay quiet in conversations and see how people react. It will reveal more about them than anything else. Protect your personal life. Keep your goals, your struggles, and your next moves to yourself. Let your results be your response. Embrace the power of mystery. The less people know about you, the more intrigued they become. Silence makes you memorable. The strongest people in the world are not the ones who talk the most. They are the ones who understand when to stay silent. Most people spend their lives watching others, comparing, competing, and constantly worrying about what everyone else is doing. They waste their energy chasing approval, checking who's ahead, and wondering why they aren't where they want to be. But here's the truth. Your life changes the moment you stop watching and start working. The moment you stop chasing and start creating. The moment you stop worrying about what others think and start focusing on what truly matters, your own growth. When you focus on yourself, something incredible happens. You stop feeling lost. You stop feeling like life is slipping through your fingers. You start realizing that everything you need to succeed is already inside you. The problem is, most people don't believe that. They think success is something external, something that comes from being in the right place, knowing the right people, or getting lucky. But real success, it's built in silence. It's built in focus. It's built in those moments when no one is watching, but you're still putting in the work. That's the difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck. One group is constantly distracted, constantly comparing, constantly complaining. The other, they are locked in, they are focused. They don't waste time explaining themselves, they just do the work. The energy shift that changes everything. When you shift your energy from watching to doing, everything changes. You stop feeding your mind with useless distractions and you start feeding it with purpose. You stop letting people drain your energy and you start protecting your space. And most importantly, you stop waiting. Waiting for motivation, waiting for someone to recognize your worth, waiting for the perfect moment. Because deep down you realize something powerful. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. People who focus on themselves don't wait. They move, they take action, they put in the work before they feel ready, and that's why they succeed. They don't get caught up in negativity. They don't waste time worrying about who's watching. They understand that success isn't about impressing others, it's about improving themselves. And when you commit to that mindset, something incredible happens. People start noticing, not because you're telling them about your progress, but because they can feel your energy. They see the shift, they see the difference. The silent power of discipline. People love to talk about their goals. They love to announce their plans. They love to say what they're going to do. But here's the reality. Talking about it does nothing. The real power comes from the action you take in silence, from the early mornings when no one is watching, from the late nights when everyone else has given up, from the moments when it would be easier to quit, but you keep going. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need applause. It's built in the moments when you're alone, pushing yourself forward when no one is there to cheer you on. That's why people who stay silent and focus on themselves achieve more. They don't need external motivation. They don't need validation. They understand that success isn't about proving something to others. It's about proving something to themselves. Cut out the distractions, cut out the noise. If you want to change your life, start by cutting out the noise. Stop feeding your mind with distractions. Stop wasting time worrying about things that don't serve you. Stop scrolling through other people's lives and start building your own. Stop engaging in pointless arguments and start conserving your energy. Stop giving your attention to negativity and start pouring it into your goals. The more you focus on yourself, the more you realize how much time you've been wasting, how many opportunities you've let slip away because you were too distracted, how much energy you've given to things that never truly mattered. But the moment you shift, the moment you lock in and commit to yourself, that's when you become unstoppable. Because the truth is, life rewards those who focus. Success follows those who stay disciplined. Growth happens for those who choose to invest in themselves rather than seeking validation from the world. You don't need to prove anything. Most people live their lives trying to prove something to their friends, to their family, to strangers who don't even matter. But when you truly focus on yourself, you realize there's nothing to prove. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to justify your decisions. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Your progress will speak for itself. Your results will show the truth. And when that happens, people will start. The moment you stop explaining yourself to others, a new level of power enters your life. Because when you're always trying to justify your actions, prove your worth, or explain why you're making certain choices, you give away your energy. You allow other people's opinions to have control over your direction. But here's what happens when you stop explaining and start executing. You regain control. You stop seeking approval, and instead you move with quiet confidence. People who are truly focused don't waste time defending their decisions. They let their progress do the talking. The world is full of noise. People talking about what they're going to do, what they believe in, what they're planning next. But very few are actually doing the work. Very few are showing up daily with silent discipline. The ones who do, they don't need to talk about it. Their results speak louder than any words ever could. If you want to become the kind of person who turns dreams into reality, you need to master the art of silence. Not just in your words, but in your actions. Move in a way that doesn't require explanation. Work in a way that naturally demands respect. Mastering your focus. Most people live their lives distracted. Their minds are scattered, their energy is drained by unimportant things, and their time is wasted on meaningless conversations. They wonder why they aren't making progress, but they don't realize that the answer is simple. They lack focus. Focus is the foundation of success. It's the ability to shut out everything that doesn't serve you and direct all your energy toward what truly matters. It's the discipline to ignore the noise, the patience to stay on your path, and the strength to keep moving even when no one is watching. The most successful people in the world have mastered this. They aren't scrolling mindlessly through social media, watching what others are doing. They aren't caught up in gossip, wasting energy on opinions that don't matter. They are locked in. And that's exactly what you need to do. Cut out the unnecessary distractions. Protect your mind. Guard your energy. When you do this, you'll notice something incredible. Your productivity will increase, your confidence will grow, and your progress will accelerate. Why most people stay stuck? The truth is, most people never reach their full potential because they are too afraid of what others will think. They fear judgment. They fear rejection. They fear standing alone, so instead of taking action, they hesitate. Instead of making bold moves, they seek permission. Instead of believing in themselves, they wait for validation. But here's the reality. If you want to build a life of greatness, you can't live in fear. You can't let the opinions of others dictate your choices. You have to be willing to stand alone. You have to
Alright,
be
mga
willing to
friends,
trust
thank you so much.
yourself,
Thank you so much for
even when
watching.
no one else
Bye for
does. People
now.
will doubt you, people will question you, people will try to bring you back to their level because your growth makes them.
Bye for now, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for helping me to augment my WH. Alright, mga friends. Hi, hello to Jim Langston. Take care, my friend. Have a great day. God bless. And to all my listeners right now, have a blessed day to every one of you. Take care, my dear friend. Bye-bye. So, till tonight.